It was like I thought it was really nice. Like Thanksgivings, like somebody had the pit to cook the
Oh yeah.
turkeys in, and everybody could like it was a very community type place.
Yeah.
So like I think that part of it was really nice. And then like when mom was alive, I felt like there was a lot of structure. Like dinner was at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
every day. Like it didn't like you better be sitting down at the dinner table in the dining room to have dinner, or dad would go to work at the same time every day and always get back at a certain time. So like that part of it I thought was nice because it was like predictable and stable. And yeah, they were helping each other in the garage, the men of the street.
Yeah.
That was always there were like lots of personalities.
Yeah.
Like our neighbor Mel, like the one with the missing finger, who would be like, "Don't touch the machine, or this is what will happen to you, kid. Don't do drugs."
Yeah, and I remember he would jump over the fence and yell at me and my friends if we were being too loud or doing something obnoxious, whatever. But he would point at me with the stub.
Yeah.
He would say, "Damn you kids!" One of those kind of things. Just shaking. I'm like, oh my god, that was a very frightening thing.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an interesting place and time to grow up in. This is in the early '90s or through the '90s, I guess, in Bakersfield. And as the last part of that name depicts, it was a field. So we're one of the few housing tracts at that time before in the past 10 years it's gotten totally developed. But everything was a field, and so we can go ride the dirt bikes from the garage and out into the field. And that was a great way for me to grow up.
Mhm.
So I loved it. It was a good time.
Yeah, I thought it was really like nice because it wasn't overpopulated. It was like you had a lot of freedom, and like for a young kid, that meant like exploration and adventure, even if it was like a dirt field.
Yeah.
It was like really exciting. Now you're like, okay, I don't know about how entertaining that would be, but yeah, you guys had a lot of opportunities to ride dirt bikes and
Build tumbleweed forts. People in the world don't really know what a tumbleweed fort is or what a tumbleweed is, but during that time the fields would get overgrown with all these tumbleweeds, and then during the summer they'd dry out, and then during the winter time they would just be blowing around everywhere, like literally down the street. And so us kids, we would build like almost sometimes 2-story tumbleweed forts, like some plywood on it, and then you could make like 2 stories, and then you'd fall in it and you get all these scratches, and it was terrible. But
I like that we were very like we spent a lot of time in the backyard of the house, and we were like very creative on what we were doing. Like
you were always my guinea pig.
yeah, I was your gullible test subject. Like we would take like that. What is that, like the play school slide house?
Yeah,
And we
so
would
those
build
plastic cubicle slides,
Yeah.
and we'd have that as the tower, and me and my friends would stack it up, 5 to 10 feet tall, and then we'd have this utility ladder that was about 10 to 20 feet long, and then we had that little slide that we'd break it down. And so I tie rope to the slide and say, "All right, Danielle, get on it." Like, I don't know, this is sketchy.
No, the best part, I would get on at like the top or whatever, and I would make it like 2 feet and then horribly horribly fall off and start crying. And I am always amazed, like, because we got injured a few times, but in the grand scheme of the things that we did as children, like exploring, like we could have gotten more hurt probably.
I'm surprised we're not permanently maimed somehow. And or like throwing bowling balls over our heads. Here, Danielle, try this.
Oh, like what was I gonna say? What was it? You broke your arm when we were really, I forget what you were doing.
It was 6th grade, and I was jumping from the pull-up bar to the ladder bar at the middle school. And I jumped and I grabbed it, and then I swung because that's how physics works. And then as I did that, I lost my grip, and then I went to go put my arm back, and then it was that goose
Mm-hmm.
Z looking thing. That was terrible, man. That hurt.
Because you broke your arm, and then I got the chicken pox, and Mom would call us spots and bones. Because it was like happening at the same time. So like you were on bed rest trying to heal with your new cast, and she was trying to like duct tape oven mitts on my hands so that I couldn't scratch because I was only like, what, 6?
Probably 5 or 6 at the time, yeah.
And I remember that because she'd be like, okay, spots and bones, let's go.